Okay, now a lot of people always ask me, what is a good first car to buy on a budget? Well, my answer is always get the best car you can buy for your budget. But if budget really is a concern, my advice also is to buy used. Why? You see, the thing is, when you buy a brand new car straight out from the showroom, pow, you lose 20%, 30% of your car's value just like that. And especially in Malaysia, where most of us typically take 7-year loan, 9-year loan cars, immediately you start off the first 2-3 years of your car ownership, you owe the bank more money than what your car is worth. So for your first car, and especially if you have a low salary, whatnot, your income is still low, you're not really up yet, get a used car where the first owner has already taken the brunt of your depreciation, and whether you buy cash or you buy loan, right? Slowly work your way up, and once you can afford something better, then this cheap car of yours is your trade-in chip when you upgrade for something better. So normally a lot of viewers who are shopping on an extremely tight budget, 20K is usually the starting point, and the type of cars at that kind of price range, yeah, you can buy a BMW E90, you can buy an E60, you can buy a BMW E39, but I'm going to guess that there are a lot of you shopping in the 20,000 ringgit price bracket. You want something less problematic, less demanding to care for, a bit less fuss. And when you shop with that kind of criteria, well, you always look for something Japanese, you always look for something simple. And I just want to show you right here, this is a Suzuki SX4. The market value of these cars are now, well, below 20,000 ringgit. You can get them in the teens. I've seen them go on Muda for anywhere between 12K to 18K. Now, brand new, the SX4, this is now, what, from the 2010, so it's a more than 10-year-old car. It's a cash buy right now. Okay, so it's, you can see from the little claddings there, it's a sort of like a crossover concept. But underneath here is a Suzuki Swift platform. It is powered by a 1.6 liter engine. There's also, interestingly, a sedan version of the SX4. So there's also a Suzuki SX4 sedan, all right, that has this same face without the black claddings. It's the same glass house, but of course with a lengthened tail. All right, so there's this SX4 crossover, and there's also the SX4 sedan powered by a 1.6 liter engine. Mechanically, it's a very simple car, all right? But, well, still got front disc brakes, rear disc brakes, okay? Styling wise, okay lah, it's not a very eye-catching, very beautiful car, but I think it is a design that has aged well. It doesn't look particularly dated, but it's not a car that catches the eye. So this particular car came to my hands because the owner asked me to help it find a new home. So if any of you is interested to have a look at this car, drop a line in the comment section or buzz me through the Evo Club Car Wash team phone number. Okay, so just to show you inside the car. So the boot is not particularly big, but there are some pretty neat touches here. So here is the cabin light, okay? There's a hook right here, and there's a compartment here that is pretty deep inside, okay? So as you can see from how deep my hand's going, so this is a pretty deep compartment. There's one over here and one over this side as well. This is the boot floor, which you can treat it as a split level, so you can drop this, okay, to free up extra height in the rear cargo, or and this, the whole thing, it feels solid. This thing feels solid. You can put it up here because when you drop the seats, when you fold the seats down, what you get is a more seamless floor for you to carry long items. So just to show you here, Alright, so once again, you see here, there's this little notches here that allows you to snap this in place. So it snaps securely. Alright, you can drop this. And you can also snap it securely in place here so it doesn't rock about. Okay, here, this is something you can unsnap this to remove. This one, it releases it. Okay, there's a hook here. So now you can see here the cabin inside. Nothing spectacular, huh? Let me get inside here. I'm 170 centimeters tall. Kayla got a fist of headroom above me. Got individually adjustable headrests. Lean angle at the back here is good, and I have got pretty decent leg room in front of me for me to stretch my legs in front. And in here, there's a little hook here at the back. Pocket only on the passenger seat, none on the driver's seat. Seat here is of high quality fabric, so pretty comfortable to sit in. Now, let's go to the front. Okay, this is the cabin. This is really where it shows the age. Okay, this is 10 years ago Japanese B segment plastic. Really nothing spectacular about. Very, very simple. You know, the controls, single zone, manual aircon, right? But one thing I do have to say about Suzuki is that in terms of plushness, these materials are distinctly average, but all the buttons here still exhibit very good tactile feeling. This car is kept in a relatively stock condition. Let me just turn on the ignition. So the instrument cluster here is illuminating type. All right, all-time illuminating. Got a single monochrome digital display here, very basic one that shows you trip computer. Okay, that's it. And it's clear, it's nice, it's clear, it's simple. Okay, you got steering mounted controls here for the buttons. And all right, so there's this little lidded compartment here for you to hide things inside. A single 12-volt socket. Inside here, there's another compartment that's just about right size for you to slip your phone. Only one molded cup holder here. And here's the thing with Suzuki, right? For a car maker that specializes in making compact cars, they really have not mastered the art of maximizing their interior space. And this is where I think they can learn a thing or two more from the folks at Honda. Okay, but otherwise this cabin, plain simple, gets the job done. Nothing much to write home about. So what's great about the Suzuki SX4 here? If I have to be honest with you, nothing much. This is just a car you buy to get you from point A to point B. Okay, don't make any illusions that this is a car that you buy as a car enthusiast. You know, you want to enjoy good handling while still being practical. Don't. There is no such pretension whatsoever. This is just a very simple, no nonsense, point A to point B car. That's it. But that being said, I do have to commend Suzuki that they are one manufacturer that truly gets what it means to make the best out of a very cheap car. And that philosophy, of course, is exemplified right at the pinnacle with what we know as the Swift Sport. If you look at the Swift Sport, the car that we always rave about, right? You spend 140 grand on a Swift Sport and you go there, sit inside. The build quality is no better than a Myvi. The cabin, really, the quality level, you see a Persona in there, right? You sit inside a Persona, it probably feels nicer, feels plusher inside. But what Suzuki does really well is that when I drive a Suzuki, the Alto is an exception. A Suzuki always manages to feel mechanically crisp. You know, there is that sensation that the engineers put in the effort to make sure that all of the mechanical components work in harmony with each other. And that's why the SX4 is a pleasant day-to-day workhorse, because this is a car that goes around without fuss. Not only that, yeah, the 1.6 liter engine here, it gets a little thrashy at high revs, but it's perky enough at the low RPMs and the mid-range. So, you know, when you are negotiating city traffic, when you want to get up and go from one red light to another, well, it has that peppiness in it that makes it not so dreadful to drive. The steering, which I believe is electrically assisted, not the richest of feedback perhaps, but weighted well enough that it doesn't feel cumbersome in city driving, but at the same time neither does it feel overly light. There is just enough of resistance and assistance, that right balance between these two qualities, that feels just right on highways, in town driving. Now, what is where this car really shines, I believe, is the suspension tuning. Not in the sense that this is a car that you want to carve corners with. Granted, the handling is rather competent for what it is, but what I would say is that the way the suspension deals with, you know, like all the pavement lah, the what you call it, all the patches of road, the way it soaks it all up, yeah, that is hugely commendable. Very well set up. It gives you the feeling that when you're driving in, say, I don't know, Oakland Road or whatnot, right, when you go over those less than pleasant patches of road, you get the feeling that the suspension is built to take care of all these things, right? It does not feel fragile. This car does not feel fragile. It feels, the way the suspension thumps out all the surface imperfections, there is a surprising degree of authority that you don't often get in the 70k to 80k Japanese car price bracket. That is of this era. Okay, this era. The more recent iterations of the Honda City and Toyota Vios are much better at this. But that being said, those are still 70-80k. This is something you're getting for less than 20k. So what I'm saying overall in this video is that, well, this particular car is for sale if you're interested, but the main message that I want to deliver is that if you are shopping for your first car, all right, and you want to shop you're shopping on a shoestring budget, well, honestly, 20k, the 20k mark is about as low as it gets for you to get something that is affordable, competent, and at the same time still pretty reliable. It's a car that, you know, beyond your regular servicing, you don't expect that you will need to go into the workshop very often. And cars like the Suzuki SX4 fit that bill. Serve you for that good 2-3 years as you build your income, right? That is when you take whatever it is that you're having, which probably will still go for 15-20k 3 years, 4 years down the road. That is when you take that and you trade up to your next car that is of higher aspirational value. But until then, no nonsense cars like this Suzuki SX4 here, sub 20,000 used cars, they may not be the cars that we celebrate as car enthusiasts, but I'm willing to bet that quite a lot of enthusiasts out there, as they come out in the early stages of life, as they struggle through the early hardships of their career, cars like the SX4 served many of them as they work their way up to their City, their Vios, their Civic, their 3 Series, their Z4, whatever your dream cars in the future. Cars like the SX4 here, well, they play a role as your stepping stone.